5 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order.
All right, you provided me with a number of them. Here's one back, actually.
Agenda review and disposition.
I'm all set, Madam Chair.
The minutes of both public and non-public sessions are on the web board docs.
And they're also contained in the handouts that
Okay.
Yeah.
So unless there are any corrections or additions, amendments, they stand approved as written. Mr. Howard?
I'm all set, Madam Chair. Anything I have is contained within the committee reports.
Madam Chair, yes, obviously we had an end of the year, very successful end of the year, wrapping up with finals. We got all our grades in on time and the mailings went out on time. We sent 58 letters out to freshmen, sophomores, and juniors who are eligible for summer school. It's not a bad number. Hopefully we get a good return on that. Mr. Austin will be running summer school along with Amelia Fleck, Ellen Malm, and Crystal Francis. And it'll start July 10th. So hopefully we get a good response back on that. Any questions on that? You can see me personally on that. Tanya has a special program she's running up in Littleton this year with her special ed department, and she's going to report out on that in August. It's with 4 children. They're receiving work skills, and we have a person going back and forth with those kids every day, and they'll be able to receive some credit when they came back in August on the regular school year. And finally, I do have some individual freshmen, incoming freshmen. I've met with all the principals, and we've made arrangements for a few students who may be a little anxious or whatever on having them up. And Mr. Currier has a special program going on that he's working with myself and Tanya on dealing with a couple of individuals that he's running for some courses as we tutor them along to make sure that they stay on par and course for their graduation requirements. And as Mr. Allen reported last night, there are no major projects we are doing here in the building for the summer, so it is kind of unique. And we do have a painting crew, and John Francis has a couple of the boys working with him as we move furniture around and get those rooms cleaned and ready. And as Mark said, no, we have no one out in Park and Rec this summer at all on that. So it's kind of a quiet summer, but I'm hoping, anticipate that I get at least half of those 58 kids, and we will, we'll get creative in helping them along as they need help to get in here too. So we'll work out some system for them. And I'll report, obviously I'll be able to report at the retreat of how many of those kids we did get. And if not, then I'll have to get creative with their schedules when they come in August, because they need that, credit. Thank you. Unless there's questions.
Any questions? Thank you. Committee reports, facilities.
So the facilities, we approved the minutes from May 15th. And as Mr. Parsons just was talking, the summer projects, there's some painting, some new furnishings and designs for the cafeteria, the lawnmower for Park and Rec, and the soccer field has been aerated and seeded. The bond update, a draft for a request for proposals for the construction renovation financing of a CTE wing. Now that the project has been authorized for the Penny Baker School District. Currently, the lenders are offering a fixed rate below 2% at this point in time. The bus route extension, we had a conversation about the extension in Thornton. We've got an approximate number of 9 students. So we would add 20 minutes of time on each end of the bus route. The first pickup in the morning being 6:12 a.m. And the additional cost would be $75 a day, or a total of $13,500. That would be added to the busing contract. After discussion was made, a motion was made and seconded to and recommend to the full board to continue the bus route as it has been with no changes. And the vote was unanimous to bring that to the full board.
So we need to vote on that here. Coming from committee is the recommendation to keep the bus routes as they are. Does anyone have any questions on that? All those in favor? Opposed and abstaining? All right.
Okay. And real estate information, there's 12 acres for sale, which goes down behind the elementary school to the river. Sale price is $68,000. If the board decided to pursue this purchase, it would need to go before the voters. A motion was made by Mr. Beachman and seconded that this item would go to the board tonight with the recommendation that it be sent back to this committee for further review. And that vote was unanimous.
So again, coming from the committee is the recommendation that, Mr. Halloran, is it, you enter into negotiations or pursue?
Yes, we go into negotiations and it would be in facilities and negotiations. And then as we prepare for a school district meeting, perhaps have a conversation about the land later in the fall.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed and abstaining? So one abstention. Thank you.
There is no other business. The future meeting date will be determined at the retreat in July, and we adjourned our meeting at 5:35.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, could I ask if the Facilities Committee took any action on that RFP that Melinda had talked about before for the bond? The business administrator is requesting that the board approve that so he could send it out for, to have it printed, and then he and the board or the facility or the policy and budget committee would evaluate the response to that RFP to see who you wanted to borrow the money from. But he was looking for approval for that as a poster.
We did.
I don't
Do it
think
now.
so.
We did.
Yeah.
Yes, that'd be great. if You do it.
I move we approve the RFP.
Second on that, Bernie. All those in favor? Looks like that's unanimous.
Great. Thank you.
Policy and budget?
Yes, we met last night following the facilities committee. Apparently, we did the same things that they did. We did review the expenditures for the current fiscal year and the revenues. All is well in both areas. And we'll have the final numbers as soon as all the encumbrances are taken care of and any last-minute bills are received. We did approve, after reviewing both, a tentative unreserved fund balance of $244,000, which is slightly greater than we've been doing recently, but we've had some financially good tidings as a result of our special ed commitments. I think we'll come up with a final vote for that either at the retreat or
Probably in August.
August.
Yeah.
We've also reviewed the bus route extension information and came up with the same recommendation. Keep the bus routes as is. We had no other business. And we will announce our future meetings at the July 25th retreat. Motion was made by Mr. Sullivan, seconded by Mr. Pettingill to adjourn the meeting at 5:45. The vote was unanimous.
Thank you. And Phil McCormick has agreed to do program staffing.
Again, we met last night. The minutes of May 15 were approved as written. Mr. Halloran gave us an explanation/update of a recent ranking by U.S. News and World Report, which ranked Plymouth High School as 14th within New Hampshire with respect to college preparedness of its students. This was based on performance on statewide required tests as well as other testing, which would indicate preparedness for college. Also gave an update on student performance on state testing. Decision was to pass over an article that will be discussed at the retreat, which was the new federal law dealing, well, I don't know what that was, what they were dealing with.
It's going to be the state's plan that will be submitted by the Department of Ed this summer to meet the requirements of ESSA, the new federal law. I'm going to the commissioners unveiling the plan tomorrow in front of all the superintendents up in Whitefield, so I'll be attending that event.
Mr. Halloran also updated the committee on the efforts of Ms. Gades to apply for a Title I grant proposal which would fund a consultant to design a school-to-work program for the high school. There being no other business, the meeting was adjourned at 6:02.
Thank you. Discussion items. Or I'm assuming SCC is not.
No, we haven't met. We won't until fall.
Thank you. Discussion items?
As you know, Madam Chair, we've scheduled your retreat for Tuesday, July 25th. A time and a place and topics to be discussed tonight. So I leave it to the chair to lead that discussion.
All right. Location-wise, my preference would be to keep it within the district. I think it'd be nice to keep the income within the district. My preference would also be to kind of watch our dollars, not be extravagant. Suggestions? Guess we'll meet here, Bruce? Mark?
Here in the high school?
No, come on. Does anyone have suggestions?
Yeah, I just gonna go up to Owl's Nest.
Owl's Nest?
Convenient.
People like getting off this property, I'm assuming.
I like to see
All
the
right.
money spent in my town.
That's noble of you.
It's only half of your town, isn't
No,
it?
that might actually be important.
You're still getting a cut of the action.
You do.
Time-wise, so Owl's Nest it is. Seems like people are agreeable to that, and
2 o'clock, see if everybody. No?
2 o'clock?
Yeah.
are you?
And Sam's available from 8 a.m. on.
Take your lumps.
I'll check my schedule.
Okay, Lisa and I might be a little bit late. Do we have, can we do 2:30, 3? Is that a problem?
Anytime we want. If we call it though for 2 o'clock, we'll get it going by 2:30 and get.
Okay, we'll call it 2 o'clock, and by the time Lisa or I will get there, yeah.
All right.
We'll try to be there. So 2 o'clock at Owl's Nest.
It's 25th of July.
Yes.
Tuesday, yes, the 25th. Thank you.
Any topics?
Do we need to discuss the succession? Is that an appropriate time?
Sure is. Yep.
I'm sorry, did you have one?
No, that was the only one
Succession?
yes, that was the only one I had. Are there other things to discuss? Do we want to
We will
discuss
give
this?
excuse me, I'm sorry, go ahead.
The study committees that we,
Yes? Yeah.
that would be retirement insurance, evaluation, and scheduling.
Right.
Just where we might be headed.
Also, we'll lay out a more definitive schedule for renovations and when things will actually be happening. So it won't be finalized, but it'll give you a general sense of what our timelines look like. So we'll have that for you, and
Okay.
I'll have John Francis there for that piece of.
We have some final numbers on heat and electricity by then?
I definitely will. Yeah, the last electric bill just came in yesterday. I didn't look at it, but I'm sure it's very good.
Bill?
Last year, we talked quite a bit about CTE and the future of that.
Right.
Could we just revisit that?
Yes.
As to what, in fact, the grant that was...
Well, yes, we'll have in fact, I can have Ethel there to talk about the grant itself and the expectations of the state for the $15,000 we're awarded to look at what a school-to-work program would look like. And I had to remind someone today, we're not running a school to work program. This 15,000 is for someone to come in and say, this is the structure that you should consider for your school to work program. This is where the kids have potential to go. So it's a real roadmap for us to begin the process. So that's, we could certainly look at that. We can revisit your goals too, your board goals.
Was that it?
That was, I was going to say, just, and so to encompass all of that, I think
Yeah.
reviewing board goals and having those part of that.
Do we need to revisit the building trades program, given the change in the economy and the parent growth in the real estate areas, and maybe whether or not that's now offers an opportunity for some of my graduates to either explore it further with more education or to back upon work right away? I don't know if we're contemplating it, but in any event, it doesn't have to be structured the exact same way, but nor do we need the trust and all those things if we don't want them. But I just think there might be some jobs out there now that weren't there 5 or 8 years ago when we finally decided to collapse the program because of the real estate economy wasn't that strong.
We can put it on as a conversation about building trades. How's that?
Mhm.
You can let us know whether or not there are kids out there who
Yeah.
miss it and would have taken it if it had been available.
We can also talk to some of the contractors and get a sense of their needs.
Well, it's substantial, let me tell you. Right now.
Oh,
And-
we've got a great start, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this certainly is not the final list. If
Yeah.
other items come up, feel free to
Yeah, just
contact
call and
Mark and
we'll put it right on.
let him know.
Thank you.
Any other business?
I have none.
Board member concerns? Do I hear a motion to go into non-public session for personnel?
We don't have anything.
I would like to go into non-public session too.
I'll make that
Are
motion for
you laughing at me?
Well, the administration doesn't. You certainly can do anything you want.
I'd like to go into non-public to discuss the study committees.
Okay. That would be under
Second,
negotiations.
Negotiations,
Yes.
yes. You want to second
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Everyone good?